Hi, it's Joey, and today I'm going to be watching The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 3, a long time. I am so sorry this reaction is up so late. I am so ready to watch this episode. Don't really know any spoilers about what happens in it, but I know it is apparently a fantastic episode. I've seen lots of people saying they cried. Lots of people like 3 because I don't look for spoilers, but the people I've seen talking about this episode, they cried. But no, I am just really excited. I have loved this show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. I wonder what those are called. It's sort of his version of a memorial.
Look, I've been thinking about...
I don't want your sorries.
I wasn't gonna say I'm sorry. I was gonna say that I've been thinking about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody made your test take me. Don't blame me for something that isn't my fault.
She will never have seen so many of these landscapes in person. I mean, maybe she's seen pictures or movies or videos or whatever, but...
No, I missed 2. It happens more often than you think.
Did you suck at shooting or like in general?
In general.
I know I say it every time, but just being around a kid, a teenage girl, is gonna be, I think, so hard for him and also so healing it could be. It's a lot.
Is there anything bad in here?
Just you.
Ah, getting funnier.
Do not jump into the hole. Do not jump down there. Jesus Christ. Oh God. Why are we doing this, Ellie?
You flying one of those?
A few times, sure.
So lucky. Dude, you got to go up in the sky.
The things we take for granted now.
There's stuff up there you shouldn't see.
Now I have to see.
I don't want you to.
Can it hurt me?
No.
Can it traumatize her?
Told you were going to a QZ, and you were. If there was room.
Fucking hell.
If there wasn't.
And I can believe it. Oh Lord. Well, that's really cheerful, thanks. Okay.
Not today, you New World Order jackboot fucks.
Sometimes it pays to be a conspiracy theorist. Oh, that's horrific. There wasn't even, you're telling me there wasn't room for the baby? And the town is his now. Living the life. I mean, what is the point of this kind of existence? Just for the sake of existence? Completely alone and isolated, why bother?
Not infected.
Oof.
Are you armed?
Baltimore QZ. It's gone.
I'm letting you go, so go.
All right. Look. First, my name's Frank.
Oh yeah? Here's the thing, Frank.
Where we're
I
headed.
feed you.
Haven't had anyone to talk to for 4 years. Maybe it would be nice.
This is amazing.
How long has it? I mean, it's been 4 years since you had any human contact. It's almost like this is a little piece of civilization. Very fancy house. I wonder he could afford all his state-of-the-art prepping. He is not used to human contact. Is she a chef?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Human kindness and compassion.
Wow. You know how much these are worth?
Currently nothing.
Very true.
Take things in stride.
Someone told me, but I
Much
don't
better.
know what it means.
human connection in hell finds a way. You don't have to be alone. There's so much meaning in that connection.
Have you ever done this before? Not with anyone?
With a girl a long time ago.
So, I'm gonna start with the simple things. I'm gonna stay for a few more days. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our home isn't just our house, it's everything around us.
Give me a fucking break.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I live in this world. You live in a psycho bunker where 9/11 was an inside job and the government are all Nazis.
The government are all Nazis!
Well, yeah, now, but not then.
Have friends, because there are no friends to be had.
I've actually been talking to a nice woman on the radio.
You what?
Well, this really is just, it's amazing.
Right?
They are friends. So he was with Tess for a very long time.
How nice this is.
Like
to
10
have a
years.
civilized meal.
Frank!
Songs.
You love him.
Oh, and I had this idea that we should use codes for the radio in case anyone's listening.
Oh, that's a good idea. Like what?
Like, I was thinking, like, the decades, like 80s.
Okay. Oh god, so the radio came through Trouble. And if they're the one that sent the radio, if he's the contact, then there's in trouble with Bill and Frank, which is where we're headed. And I also don't want trouble with Bill and Frank.
Peter's never gonna.
Oh.
I traded Joel and Tess one of your guns for a packet of seeds.
Tuh.
Which gun?
A little one.
Enjoy the good things in life. It's why you're alive. You have each other and you have these things that you share together. The strawberries are disgusting, but I'm glad they're happy. And it would be amazing to taste something that you loved after so many years.
Getting older faster than you.
I like you older. Older means we're still here.
Yeah.
I was never afraid before you showed up.
Yeah. There's something to lose. I'm just so stressed because I know that they do the radio signal to Trouble. Not on the strawberries. Oh lord. Jesus. Is he out there? Oh lord. Get away from the windows. Of course he's out there.
Bill! Get inside!
You're distracting him, oh god.
No! Bill! No! Inside, now! Hold on to me! I gotcha.
I made a list for you.
Tell me about the list.
I have copies
Oh.
of all the keys.
Good.
Yeah.
He's just
Cole,
trying to keep him talking
Joel.
and alive.
You can't be here alone.
I'm not alone.
You're here.
No. He'll take care of you.
You're gonna take care of him. It's just honestly like surviving after apocalypse. The only reason to do it is the people in your life and the connections you make. Oh, I want to go quick if it ever happens. They've had a good life. I get that this sounds very negative to say they've had a good life. But the reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure that when we arrive they're going to be dead because Trouble was playing on the radio. Trouble music. They've had this time together in peace and comfort for most of it. And love. Most importantly of all, they've had love. There is so much love here. When this episode started, I was like, what's Bill? Not that I knew his name was Bill. What's his reason for being? What's the point? This is the point.
Not fighting about it. Back in
I
bed.
promise you I'm gonna stay up.
Why?
Because this is my last day.
Oh, fuck. This isn't the kind of trouble I was expecting. This is truly your decision to just spend today together. Loving each other.
Just give me one more good day.
It is
Starting now,
his
make me some
choice,
toast.
but
We'll get married. And you cook a delicious dinner. And I will fall asleep in your arms.
you're just gonna say that? Fuck.
I can't.
Like, you want to honor him, and like, it's his choice, it's his life, it's his right, but at the same time, how on earth can you do that? Like, the amount of bravery and courage it would take to intentionally do that to someone you love, and to you have to do it because it's his choice, but at the same time, it would almost be like, God, in this fucking apocalypse, is there other enough pills for 2 glasses of wine? What's the point afterwards? It's just saying they were the point, the love, the connection they found is the point. All the beautiful things they managed to cherish and keep going and keep close. Oh. You should have done this years ago. Not that you love each other just the same regardless. I mean, this is in some ways nicer than what I was fearing, which was that they were going to be attacked by raiders and like murdered. But at the same time, it's just soul destroying. One last beautiful day instead of lots of painful ones. Just every second, you know the day's coming to an end. You know you're getting closer. It's just like the first meal he cooked him. But neither of them could have imagined the shape their lives would take. They had such a beautiful life despite everything. So much love. He loves you so much to be doing this for you. And you love him so much to trust him to do it for you. This is horrible.
Were there already pills in the bottle?
Enough to kill a horse.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose.
That's exactly what I thought. You almost think like if he'd known he was gonna do that, he would have held out despite being in pain because he doesn't want to think of him dying. But
I do not support this. It's incredibly romantic.
what is there to live for in this world if you lose everyone? And maybe if they'd at some point opened this place up and had other people living there might be those connections to live for. Love and human connection is the only reason to keep going in this kind of circumstance. They had beautiful lives. You have to remember that in the most impossible of circumstances, they were able to have a beautiful life. And he's feeling twitchy right now because the plants are dead and no one's come to meet them.
What?
Bill?
I mean, she'll be fascinated because this is like a real
Frank.
life home from before.
So they're dead?
Yep.
I never liked you. But still, it's like we're friends. Almost. And I respect you. I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died.
Fuck.
But I was wrong. Because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. And I protected him. Used him to keep
Tess safe. Yep, he's lost everything right now. When Tess died, it was quick. It was at the end of the episode. You didn't have time to sit in the emotions and really think about it because the episode ended. It wasn't like Bill and Frank where you kind of spent the episode getting to know them and then they're dead. And then now just sort of seeing Joel with Tess, that they've been together for 10 years, like 10 plus years. You could kind of think, oh, maybe they had only been working together a little while. They didn't know her that well. I mean, I had never really thought that, but just someone like Joel making any connections in this world, this post losing Sarah world, these connections he has mean everything, and he's just lost them all. He's trying to find his brother. He's making a connection with Ellie. I think if you just use everything here to protect Ellie, she is your purpose right now, okay? If that's what you need to keep going, it's Ellie.
Stay here.
Does he not want her to see him feeling things? I know.
Listen, about Tess.
She is sorry, but it isn't your fault.
If I'm taking you with me, there's some rules you gotta follow. Rule 1, you don't bring up Tess, ever. Matter of fact, we can just keep our histories to ourselves.
This guy was a genius.
He was a crazy person who got lucky.
If you didn't reset the countdown every few weeks, this playlist would run over the radio.
80s.
That's why the troubles came.
Grab some cans from over there.
No.
No.
They have hot water. I'm taking a shower. And then you're showering. Seriously.
Oh, another gun. Ellie. It's where he got the gun the night of the attack. I mean, I understand why she wants one, and I don't totally think her having one is a bad idea. I just want to know how much she knows about how to use them, because someone who has a gun who doesn't know how to use it probably is extremely dangerous to herself and others. Got a car. Has she ever been in a car before?
It's your first time in a car?
It's like a spaceship.
No, it's like a piece of seatbelt.
This thing goes over you.
Seatbelt.
I love that, because, like, oh, so cool. Because, you know, like, realistically, they probably won't need seatbelts, but he still has that instinct.
Oh, no, wait. No, leave it. Leave it. Oh, this is good. This is Linda Ronstadt. Do you know who Linda Ronstadt is?
No, I don't know who Linda Ronstadt is.
Okay, so that episode was a lot. I will start with Joel and Ellie because they were the smallest part of this episode, surprisingly enough. I love their dynamic. I think in some ways being around a kid is gonna be, I mean, it's one of those things where it will be healing for him because it will remind him of his daughter, but it will also hopefully help him kind of move past it more than I reckon he has, and maybe give him a little bit of hope for the future, both because she literally is immune to the mutations and the virus and the water infection, but also just hope for the future because there's this kid who is bubbly and bright and weird and all the things that kids should be, that give you hope for the future, that, you know, humanity is carrying on. This isn't the end. So their dynamic is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to watching them bond more, get closer, because you inevitably do. Even if you start off and Joel's like, we're not talking about serious things, your past is your past, inevitably they're going to end up getting to know each other at least a little bit, and they already have, to the point where, you know, he was gonna, I think wasn't the plan that he was gonna leave her here and hope they could deal with it, but he's trying to take her. They're still looking for his brother, but they're going to try and find more fireflies to get her where she's going, and I'm just really enjoying their dynamic, the way she just constantly asks questions and is so fascinated by the world, the way he is determined to look out for her, and some of his dad instincts are coming out in full force. They're just a really, really lovely duo, and you can see why the game works so well, because from what people have said, it matched up. I mean, I think this episode was supposedly a deviation. All I knew was it was emotional and a deviation. I thought they were going to get murdered by raiders, so in some ways the fact that they chose it is a lot nicer, and we're going to get to that. But their relationship between Joel and Ellie was obviously the core of the game. I love that they were able to carry that through to this. And just thinking about Joel, You know, he lost the world along with everybody else that was alive. He lost his daughter, not even to the infection, but to the insanity of men. Um, and he then obviously he's had Tess for 10 years. They've been side by side. They both knew loss. They both knew the world. They both got each other. They were together. They were a team. They were in love. Even if he never quite loved her the way she loved him, they loved each other. You know, I don't think he didn't love her. I just think from what her last words were, maybe it wasn't quite the way as much as she might have wanted. And he's lost her very, very recently. And even if Bill and Frank, you know, he had a weird tense relationship with Bill, and you know, I mean, I think Frank was just, even if you didn't want to like him, you ended up liking him. He seemed like that kind of person. They were a constant. They were people that you, if you were in a time of trouble, you could lean on them. You could go to them and like, it was someone that you could have this slice of normality with, this slice of human connection that was so vital, and that is all gone. And the brief amount of time we saw Joel in the quarantine zone, it didn't seem like he was flush with friends or people he wanted to spend time with. I think Ellie will become that for him, but it is a dangerous world. So then we have Bill and Frank. And yeah, if the apocalypse does come, preppers are going to be like right by luck. You know, like there was no need for anyone to be a prepper, but if it happens, they're going to be laughing at the rest of us. And it was very interesting to kind of see how prepared he was, how the minute they rolled out, and also how awful it was that we knew those people were about to be murdered by the army, the people they thought were saving them. Awful. You know, turning it into this like quite a big area that he had fenced off. He had all his traps and everything. He was having a great time, but I do think he was lacking, and I don't think he realized he was lacking. You know, I think without any human companionship, I would notice it. I mean, I'm an introvert. I am quite content to spend my time in my room, but I don't leave this room very often, but I talk to my mum in person. I'm on Discord with friends all the time. Like, I have people in my life. I mean, I interact with you guys in comments. Like, with no human interaction, it would grate on you. And I think even if he wasn't conscious of it, it was happening, which is part of why when the random man at his doorstep was like, I'd like a meal, he, against every instinct he had, he said, okay, I'll make you a meal. Do you want a shower? I'll get you some clothes. You know, like if he was truly this gruff, I hate everyone, I just want to survive, I don't need people, he would have been like, no, you can leave. But he invited him in. He gave him a meal, and he went to effort with that meal. I mean, I think he was just a very good cook, but he made it special. And that connection they had, you know, both from obviously Bill, no, he's Bill, Frank had just, I guess, made it to safety years ago, because it was like 4 years in Baltimore quarantine zone, and that had fallen. I don't know whether that fell to human raiders, to infection, to people slipping through the rules, to whatever, but you know, he kind of would have thought he was safe, and then he lost everything all over again. He fled with 10 people, it was down to 1. Bill, we already knew, was in a kind of like isolated and lonely state, and it seemed like he probably was before everything happened as well. But them sharing this dinner together, and these small moments of human connection between two people who are both maybe a lot more vulnerable than they would have been otherwise, or would have normally expected to be, for them to find each other, for them to share like just that the moment with the piano, and the song that he picked to play was the one that meant so much to him, and then they were able to find that human companionship in the worst of times. It was very, very beautiful. Very beautiful to kind of see love. They found love in a hopeless place. Rihanna was right. No, but they to see this kind of beautiful human connection flourishing despite everything, and the way they were able to build a beautiful life together. And a beautiful life doesn't mean you don't argue, and I love that we saw them arguing, because that's humanity. And especially if you basically only see the same person for forever, you're gonna argue. And even if it's just you're having a frustrated day, on that frustrated day that person's going to irritate you because there's nothing else you can blame it on. But seeing the way they worked together, they compromised together, the way it was just so lovely, from the strawberries that Frank was able to surprise Bill with, and how much that meant to them both. And then when he said, I was never scared when I was on my own, because when he was on his own, all he had to lose was his own life. And yeah, that is scary, but at the end of the day, it's not anywhere near as scary as losing the life of the person you love, of the person you cherish, who makes every day brighter and worth living for you. And when he had that person, those raiders coming, well, the minute Joel warned him about the raiders, extra protections went up around that place because Frank would be in danger. And similarly, you can tell that Frank felt the same, because despite not being the guy who's savvy with guns, not being the guy who's all into prepping and knows how to fight, he grabbed that gun and ran out there the minute he realised Bill was out there facing down the raiders by himself. They truly loved each other, and they truly formed a bond that was so beautiful, and the kind of bond you're lucky to find in the real world, or in an apocalyptic world you're even more lucky to find it. And watching them grow. And then also another line I loved was the you grow, I love you older, it means we're still here. And then to see another 10 years pass, and age is catching up, age and illness, and things that were either treatable now, or at least there were ways to manage and improve quality of life. Frank's quality of life was only going to decrease from there. And that decision of, this is going to be my last day, is a big one. I do believe in the right to die. I think in the real world, it probably shouldn't be as simple as just someone wakes up one day and is like, today is the day I'm going to die. I guess you need to have a little bit more paperwork, or just, talking to someone about it. But in general, I do believe if you are ill, you should have the right to say, I don't want to suffer until I die. I would like to, enjoy my last days and then go to peace. But the minute he asked it, all I could think was, and I think I even said it, if that was me in this world and that you were all I had, I would want to go with you. And so I wasn't surprised at the end when Frank had also, I was almost initially surprised that he didn't seem to be doing it, but he obviously had already taken enough to die. It is extremely, the idea of the one person you love in the world, even now, let alone in an apocalypse when they are all you have, asking you to help them die, asking you to take their life and to snuff out that light that keeps you going. And you can't say no, because saying no would be beyond selfish. Also, he'd probably just find a way to do it himself, and you don't want to make him do that. But just knowing that it is the right thing to do because it is his choice and it's what he wants, but how painful it is. And spending that last day exactly the way he wanted, picking outfits and getting married and just enjoying your company and the life you have built and enjoying that love you have. And he made him the same meal he made him that first day, with the same moment with the wine, and just everything was so beautiful. And it was the kind of last day that you're lucky to have, and it's part of why I do believe in the right to die. I don't think it should be illegal. I don't think it should be super easy, but I don't think it should be illegal either. And Frank just wanted to I keep wanting to call Bill Frank and Frank Bill, and I don't know why. Bill just wanted to make that last day as special as Frank wanted, and he also decided it was his last day because that was his purpose going, and that was the person he loved. And given that they're in our world, if you didn't have anyone else in your life and you only really had some vague acquaintance friends, I could kind of understand wanting to go with the other person. But at the same time, I'd be like, there are so many things you can try. The initial grief is going to be hell on earth, don't get me wrong, but there's so much to live for in an apocalypse. There is literally nothing to live for. Absolutely gut-wrenching, beautiful. This episode was so well done. It was heartbreaking. It was, I love shows like this when they have the courage to spend that time away from the main characters, because this episode was quite long, so we had a little chunk with Joel and Ellie and a little chunk with Joel and Ellie to bookend it, but this episode belonged to Bill and Frank. This will be remembered as Bill and Frank episode. And Jesus Christ, it's beautiful. The minute I realised that he was the guy, that they were the people on the radio, I knew something obviously had happened. But I was thinking, oh my god, were they attacked by raiders or something? I didn't think it would be that, and so it was a beautifully tragic story. And I loved what Bill said about, I'm satisfied. This is not the tragic suicide at the end of the day. This is an old man, although in our context, neither of them were that old, but this is a man who's lived a life and loves you and just doesn't want to live without you. And the way that they just were able to peacefully fall asleep in each other's arms, it's just really lovely and really tragic in a beautiful way. And Joel lost yet another connection he had, another person that, even if they didn't like each other necessarily, that mattered to him in the world. It was just a very, very well done episode. I'm emotional. I've done a lot of reacting today because I got very behind and I've been trying to catch up. And I'd seen people saying this episode was emotional and made them cry. And so I was like, I'll leave that to last because I do not want to be an emotional wreck filming other reactions. And I was also worried that, because I knew it was emotional going in, was that going to affect me? Because if I had watched it on Monday like I planned, I wouldn't have known that going in. It didn't matter. it got me. This was a fantastic episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.